There we go. I'll say my formal welcome. Welcome to Club Pre-Med. I think we're going to have some good information going back and forth today. It's all about, there are some, I talk about superpower. So there's some power in some things that you're not really aware of, and I want to raise them to the surface. So this is underestimating the power in your personal attributes. And I'm Dr. Judy Ann Kelly. I'm the Associate Dean for Admissions and Outreach here at the Long School of Medicine, and it's fun to be with you today. Let's get going. Okay, very good. So, dream. This was a thoughtful thing to add to this slide. Dream it, and then believe it. Start doing it, and achieve your dream in the end. Okay. You are underestimating the power in your personal attributes. And using your personal attributes can really amplify your story. So there's a hidden agenda that admissions committees everywhere have. Okay. There's not a checkbox for every single thing that they're looking for, but they're looking for some very important things that you better make sure are showing in your application. Okay. There's not a checkbox. There's not a little text box or activity thing to fill out. Have you done this? But I'm going to tell you what those secret things, that hidden agenda is, and help you stand out, help you be noticed, help your application and your story be powerful and unique. So I'm going to tell you here's the secret. And then I'm going to illustrate it for you so you can understand it a little better. Climb. I confess I'm using ChatGPT a whole lot more lately, and I call mine, she is Rita, and she helps me all the time. And I said, here are the important things that I want. Here are the secrets I want them to know. Can you make me a thing? Can you make me an acronym for it? And she did. Fine. Okay. So here are the secret things that people are looking for that there's no checkbox for. Did you do this and that? Ready? Challenge yourself. Sometimes, sometimes challenge happens to us, but maybe you should seek challenge also. Okay. Seek to do things that might be a little bit difficult. Learn something new. This is so important and very impressive for the committee to see that. Improve yourself. When you're doing all these things that we talk about, you're improving yourself. And I think we need to do that constantly. It's not over when you get to medical school, and it's not over when you become a physician. We should all be trying to be a better person all the time, right? Because we don't achieve it um, for until, like, in heaven or something. Um, this is so important. This is so important. I wish it was the C, but it's the M. um, Meet people of the world. Meet people of the world, especially this means people not like you. Okay. So that you can listen to their stories, learn where they're coming from, learn their perspectives. And this is so important in a time where, in which the world can be so polarized, right? So it's important to seek out people of the world who are different from you and meet them and break out of your comfort zone. So that's the climb. Like, do things in different places, in different spaces. When you're meeting those new people in different situations that is new to you, that's breaking out of a comfort zone too. So there's some overlap in here, but that's your climb. Those are the secret things that admissions committees are looking for. Let me tell you, have you heard stories before? Have I told you these stories? Okay. So for some of you, it's going to be new, and it's all repetition is always, like, to hear it again can be like motivating. So you're going to listen to the stories again. We're going to start again with Amy because she started this whole thing for me, thinking in this way to help you make your story stand out. So Amy, all of these people that I'm going to show you through these true stories, I have met in an interview setting. I've interviewed them, and some powerful things happened in that interview setting. So Amy is very, very, very shy, painfully shy. like so extremely introverted that she didn't hate people, but she hated talking and meeting new people. Hated it. I don't know why. She couldn't explain exactly why. But she knew this was really smart. As a physician, she was going to open the door all day, every day, and walk into that clinic room and walk into that hospital room. And who was going to be there? A stranger and a family of strangers, right? So she made a plan, and she said, for this semester, I'm going to get my friends to help me. My friends are not going to let me say no. So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go to the parties and, the campus events and things like that. But also she went a step further and said, I'm going to make conversation with three strangers. I'm going to go up to three strangers and meet them and talk to them. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was such a neat thing to recognize where you could improve, and go out there and do it. I said, Amy, that sounds like fantastic. I'm going to tell people about this. And how did it go? And she said, I hated it. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I think it ended up okay because we're having a nice conversation. She said, Dr. K, I had to work really hard at this. I had to work really hard at this. So I told her story at the committee, and we talked about all the wonderful things that she has, that she had done in healthcare and community service and things like that. And the thing that stuck out for the committee was that story, that she made goals, that she talked to strangers, that it was terribly difficult for her. So she did a lot of things. Actually she did a lot of the climb things. Got out of her comfort zone. She improved herself. But these things listed here in brown are a few of the personal attributes that we noticed she had worked on and gained some ground in, improved herself. She was self-aware. I think that that's one of the hardest things for all of us to recognize because we have our perspective, and and it's different from knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, but to like understand where you could improve is sometimes hard for people. So that's something always to work on. Resilience. She didn't give up, did she? She hated it, but did she give up? No. And she really made improvement, and improved her communication skills and her social skills and that anxiety, like not to even mention her comfort zone, her comfort in talking to strangers and new people. So that blew us away. And that started me thinking about these kinds of things that I need to tell you to do. Okay. So Daniel and Ahmad, Daniel is a white young man who was doing Latin American studies. That was his major. He was loving the language. And when you study a language, you are learning not just the language and the literature and things like that, but about the people and the geography. Where do these people live? And what are their cultures? What is their culture like? What are their traditions? So he was loving that. And he did something very unique. He started going to a new church on Sunday. Instead of going to his church on Sunday, he went to the Hispanic church where he could talk with people and be with the people he was learning about and loving. So we thought that that was quite a beautiful step, in a direction of meeting people of the world, right? The M on the climb. So we thought that that was a beautiful example. Ahmad is a Muslim young man who did plenty of things with his mosque. He did healthcare health fairs with his mosque, and he did shadowing with other Muslim physicians. But what stood out to us, every Thursday he went to the nursing home. So that, just on the surface, is hugely important because, that's sacrificing your time, which is a very, very, very valuable thing and something that you have to be ready to do if you're going to be a physician. You're going to sacrifice a lot, um, of time and events and things like that. So he was sacrificing his time. He read to the people there. Older people have no one else to talk to, or you're a new, different, bright spot in their day. So he read to people. But guess what he read? He, those of you who've heard the story, No, he read the Bible to people. That's not his book. So, what a beautiful example of not just meeting people of the world and meeting people who are not like you, but understanding, respecting, and dignifying their perspectives on the world. It was a beautiful thing. Um, and each of these, here's a very, if you're writing anything down, there's something to write down right now. And that is that they did not tell us, these stories came out in the interview. Amy should have listed this as an activity. It didn't show up in her application. We accidentally stumbled upon that topic, and that's how we, that was the most important thing for the committee to know about. Daniel and Ahmad had some of those things, but the point of learning and respecting and dignifying people who are not like you was not brought up there. So think about these lessons that your activities are teaching you and go deeper into those meanings so that you can convey those to us. Okay. Maida's story is beautiful. Um, so Maida grew up always wanting to do something musical, always wanting music lessons of some kind, any kind. But she never had the means or opportunity. And she got to middle school and decided to go into the orchestra teacher's room. And she went to talk to that orchestra teacher and say, I just know I'd be really good at the violin. And if you'll please give me a chance in the orchestra, you'll never see anybody work harder. It's going to be so great. I just know I could be good at it. So she had this dream that she took to the orchestra teacher, and the orchestra teacher said, Maida, we've been together for a while, and it's a little late in middle school to be doing this. So good luck, but no, you can't join orchestra at this point. So I'm sure she was disappointed, but she went home and regrouped and she came back. If you can imagine, I would have been so embarrassed and never gone down the orchestra hallway ever again. But she was very professional about it, and she approached the orchestra teacher again and she said, I have a proposal. If you'll just let me try for 2 weeks, just for 2 weeks, I'll just work so hard. You've never seen anybody work so hard. I just know this is going to be a good thing. And the orchestra teacher said, like, what could she say now? So she said, yes. She said, yes, of course, Maida. Let's give it those 2 weeks. And so she got her violin from the school's supply closet and she started orchestra. So who's been in orchestra before? Who's been in band or orchestra? Okay. So a few of you know what I learned in when I was talking to Maida, and it blew me away. And the committee didn't. This wasn't the whole story, but this part blew committee away also. In band or orchestra, you're practicing, 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 and do you know what they do at the end of every week? It's like horrible. They rank you. And they say, good job. My contacts are blurry. Annie, good job, Annie. Good job, Lauren. Y'all are at the top of the class today, but Julian and Mariana, you need to work harder because you're at the bottom of the class. They rank you out loud in front of everybody. So like so those are lessons in humility, right? And all kinds of other, and courage and determination and persistence in wanting to improve yourself. So I thought that was amazing. So she had her 2 weeks and she was a little screechy at the end of the first week. She was ranking at the bottom, and the end of the second week she was a little screechy and she was ranking at the bottom again. The teacher was a beautiful person and said, Maida, it's really not going to work for orchestra, but you may borrow this violin, and here is where you can get some lessons, and you're going to catch up, but it's not right now. So we thought that story of Maida's dream and then working on fulfilling her dream was amazing. And we knew in her application, she had put that she had started a mariachi organization club, a social club of getting people together to play mariachi music. She was very When we talked about it, we shared some music that we love, and I looked up her favorites and things. She was very advanced in her repertoire and her knowledge of all kinds of violin music, actually. And she was in a place in college where they didn't have mariachi as much as other places. And so she started that. They did some community service with it and all that. But we were really blown away that she had the guts and determination to make that dream come true. Awesome. Just awesome. Hard work, resilience, professionalism, like a lot of maturity in there. Sarah and Trong quit social media and gaming during this application process because they said this, there are better ways to spend in human interaction. And I think that's true, right? We're like, hopefully, we won't evolve into creatures that have like bent necks because we're down in our phones all the time. Really, when you're walking on your campuses and when you're walking around at work, are you buried in your phone? I have to confess, I'm doing that, but maybe it'd be nice to make eye contact and smile at people and greet humans. And that's what Sarah and Trong did as a goal. They practiced discipline, self-control, social skills, better human interaction. Doctoring, we've got telemedicine. There's a role for telemedicine, but it's a very deep human connection that doctors make with their patients and the families, and so that's very important. Sarah, this is so interesting. All these, Sarah and Maya, their stories came along last year in the last cycle. Sarah is a Muslim young lady who goes to practice her faith every week, and she, under her direction and tutelage, she has some young women, so like middle school girls, and I think they study the Quran and things like that. But they took monthly field trips. They took monthly field trips, and they went. Guess where they went? They went to a different place every month. They went to a Catholic mass. They went to a Christian service. They went to a Jewish temple. They went to talk to people of the Mormon or Latter-day Saints faith. So they explored things while she could say to her young ladies, this is how we worship God, and we need to see that other people, and that's a good thing, but we can see that other people are honoring God in different ways and practicing their spiritual wellness and their faith in different ways. So that was a very beautiful thing, and taught those young people to look at people of the world and how we all have different perspectives and backgrounds on things. Maya is a Jewish young lady on a big campus here in Texas, and she has a Palestinian friend. Imagine that, for one thing. And she and her friend got together to start an organization so that Jewish students could have a safe place with Palestinian students, and everybody could have a safe space to talk, to just talk and understand who we are and where we're coming from. And she described for us the difficulty. So she really reached out, wanting to make the world a better place, wanting to put some good in the world with her Palestinian friends. And they got together in conversations in monthly organization meetings. I said, oh my goodness, that sounds like it might have been difficult. And she said for 3 months, they couldn't like decrease the volume, they couldn't decrease the heat, and they were trying to work with their own people to say, how can we make this conversation happen? They didn't give up. They didn't give up. And after about 3 months, it turns out people just want to be listened to. People want to be heard and respected and dignified. So we think those were beautiful examples. So see these things in brown. Those are personal attributes. And do you see what I mean when I'm saying this hidden agenda is all centered around and the climb mission, your climb mission is centered around these personal attributes, and those are the magical pieces. Okay, those are the powerful magical pieces, are your personal attributes. So, I want to back up for a minute and tell you that every admissions committee everywhere and not just for medical school, but for all kinds of schools, undergraduate schools, graduate schools of different kinds, people are using a holistic review. And that means they are looking for well-rounded people. The AAMC has their own more specific description, and it has three components: the metrics, your grades, your programs, your coursework, the things you do academically, all are under the metric component. You work on that, don't you? Do you work on your grades? Yes. When you're making B, you want to make an A, or you want to make an A in an easier, more efficient way, or you want to have a deeper understanding of things, right? So you're working on your metrics. You join study groups. I have a question here from somebody about Anki and how to use Anki in a the best possible way. That's all under metrics. Okay, that's an important piece. You have to have a good science brain to do this. The next piece is experiences. I hope you're not tackling it like a checklist, but you need to go see what medicine is like. You're dying to do something right now, and you can't do anything medically, really, unless that's your job. Um, but you're reaching to help people eventually someday in healthcare. So you're serving, you're reaching out to people and help people in ways that you can do. So you're seeking those experiences, and we're going to ask you all about those in your personal biography. But are you working your personal attributes? Are you working on those like you're working on gathering experiences and making better grades and learning more and better? So there are lists of personal attributes everywhere. The AAMC's official list is long, much longer than those that you see here. These are sort of the interpersonal um, attributes here that we're looking for. And why are we doing this? Like, this is goes without saying, right? When you develop strong characteristics, strong character composed of all these beautiful things, we think not only are you going to be a better person for doing this, but you're going to be a great physician then, and just grow yourself into a person full of these beautiful things. So the Casper, I add that because that is a test. We can talk about it later if you have questions. The Casper test is not like a personality test on Facebook or Instagram. What candy bar would you be? What, I don't know, what color would you be if you were one? It's a test of your personal attributes and how you are demonstrating them. Very important distinction. So we're looking for those, and there's a lot of overlap, there's a lot of redundancy, but that is how they list them. And then I just, like, out of the top of my head, and you could too, just pulled out other things. Are you kind? Are you gracious? Are you grateful? Do you have a positive attitude about things? Are you industrious? Do you make the most of every minute? How's your time management? A lot of us learn sometimes that takes some time to do, or it hits us every now and then, and we get like anxious because there's so many things, and we have to learn to prioritize and and watch our time management. Are you creative? Are you curious? So there are all kinds of good things that can go into making you, and making you a great person, and making you an exceptional physician. So please be aware of those and think about ways, just like you're thinking about your metrics and joining that study group or getting Anki, just like you're working on experiences and reaching out to do community service or shadowing or scribing or healthcare experiences. You should be planning to do some things to expand, grow yourself in your personal attributes. Okay. And here are some examples. So you feel it in here. You care about people, you have compassion, you care about people who are hurting, and you want to help them through medicine. Be with people. So it's in there, but how are you demonstrating empathy? Be with people who are in a bad situation. Be with people who hurt. I think hospice is a beautiful example. We can brainstorm some examples of these. You should look at the list and what could you work on? What should you work on? Or if you think, gosh, I'm really good at that, how are you demonstrating that? Maybe you already are working in hospice or going to a nursing home. Crisis text line. The text line, really sometimes some of these things you can build on your own schedule. So some things are a bigger time commitment and long-term commitments and things like that, but you can even do some of these things on crisis text line or online that are under your timeline. And so you can do them. And we see examples all the time. How about social skills like Amy? She also could have gotten a job at the Jack in the Box or wait staff. Have you bussed tables or waited on anybody? That's a hard job. That's a hard, all kinds of lessons in that. Cultural humility, we heard all kinds of stories about that. So you should be getting some ideas about, we should all celebrate our people, learn our languages, make our foods and do our traditions, but we can at the same time learn about others and how they do things. It's just, it's very interesting, but it's going to make the world a better place also. Okay. Teamwork, start a team. Think about, really give some thought. Is anybody on a team right now? Maybe you can share later. Think about what are you contributing the team? How do you operate on a team? What are your, and not just for you, but how do you see the team operating? What are those components? What does it, how are you a good collaborator? How do you become a good team player? If I asked you that in a medical school interview, I hope you would have some examples of not just your part on a team, but how you see the whole team working. Okay. You can start a team, like get a team to get the peanut butter story. Do you know the peanut butter story? I should like just put all these stories in a video. The peanut butter story is there's a young lady, she gathered her friends together. She got a team going. They came to her apartment every Saturday. Somebody brought peanut butter, somebody brought bread, somebody brought the jelly, somebody brought the little brown bags, somebody brought a bag of clementines, and somebody brought healthcare information. This was in Houston. They would make the lunches, go to one of the bridges where the homeless gather, and they'd say, here's some food for you, here's some lunch. And the community clinic is 2 blocks that way, and here are the things on this paper that they can do for you. What a neat thing. So that was service and community, so many overlapping skills. So that's the peanut butter story. How about oral communication? Lots of studies tell us people would rather die than give an oral presentation in front of people, right? So not like a lot of us just really don't like it. And there are ways to work on this. Put yourselves in these situations. Watch yourself get better. There's a good question about this too. Toastmasters, if you don't know what that is, it is a club where you get together once a month and you do impromptu talks, and you have to stand, you don't know what the topic is going to be, but you have to stand up and talk about it for 3 minutes. And then people judge you on your flow and your fluency and how you present your ideas and things. This is a great way to develop oral communication. And if you think you would like to be stronger, maybe in an interview setting, there could be reapplicants in the room. That would be a great thing to do. Um, is anybody in a class right now? If you're in a class right now, participate. But you also need to read the room and watch your own, be self-aware. So participate, but don't take over, right? Do we know somebody? Have we been in a course where that person was raising their hand every single second, right? Don't be that person, right? Be aware. Ethical responsibility. So this is an interesting one that I'd love to brainstorm a little bit later. I'm going to tell you to be the ultimate professional and start now. You're not in medical school, you're not a physician yet, but you can practice high levels of professionalism every single day, all day, every day. Be honest and transparent, be accountable, um, be kind and courteous, be on time. If you're in classes or you have a job, all of those things are part of a person's ethical responsibility. So are you practicing that the best? Are you a tardy person? You know, maybe that's a piece of professionalism that could be better. right? So we can brainstorm some of those things, because I'm going to tell you, like, be a good person. And I know you think of yourselves as a good person, but what else could you do to, like, bring that to a higher level? Reliability and dependability. These are from the AAMC list. Be a mentor for somebody. If you joined, for example, Big Brothers Big Sisters, that huge organization is everywhere. It's a national organization that pairs big people to be mentors, with littles. So they train you how to be that mentor. They find you people, I'll say, at risk. They could have, maybe a single parent home. So the single parent is working three jobs and doesn't have a lot of time outside to help with homework and things like that. They might have somebody in their, they may have nobody, rather, in their family who's ever been to college and things like that. So that's Big Brothers, Big Sisters. They would depend on you, right? If you have yourself in a coaching, tutoring, mentoring kind of position, do that. It might just be something that you want to work on, a time management system. Every single one of you should be looking at every single one of you. You're busy, right? You got a lot of things going on, right? Every Sunday, you should be looking at the week ahead every Sunday and seeing how's, like, the things are on your calendar, maybe you're using already. But do you, like, if there's a test on Wednesday, maybe you need to spend a little, maybe you need to put in your calendar your study time, your extra time that needs for preparation for this or that. So dig down into the details in your time management system in your calendar. Um, and just personal improvement, set goals, be proactive, reflect. That's in the superpower presentation a little bit later. But all of this, I gather from the time I talked to Amy several years ago, I am telling you about a personal growth plan. So some of you have heard this before. What do you need to do better? What do you need to improve upon, like Amy? She really, that was going to make her a better doctor. Amy could have sat back and said, this is the way God made me. He made me really shy. He made me this extreme extrovert, and I'm going to be the best doctor I can be. Okay, plenty of those good doctors out there, but she wanted to be better. What would you like to do better? Like Daniel, meet the people that you're learning about, be with the people that you're learning about. What would you like to do better? Or is there some dream, some brand new thing that you would like to do? And make a dream. I know you've got this long term goal of being a physician, but there are little pieces to that too. And all of these things can make you a better person. Okay. So what dream do you have that you could bring to into reality, like Maida? I joke when I'm talking about the personal growth plan and tell you that a ukulele is $25 on Amazon, and there are all kinds of free resources. So I got out my son's ukulele and I went to YouTube, and it is not as easy as I make it out to be. Some of those chords are really tricky, and going from one, it's just four strings. Yes, that is true, but it is not easy. So I was laughing at myself because I throw it out there for y'all. Like, get a ukulele, play. I think that, be fun to play Somewhere Over the Rainbow or Steven Universe. Um, it's not that easy. So it takes some, right? Is that for Steven Universe? Yeah, yeah, me too. Um, anyway, it's not easy. You can pick some easy things, you can pick a hard thing, but a personal growth plan should be a piece of your life. Every semester, you should say, this is what I'm going to do. These two things are on my personal growth plan, and I'm going to log them just like I log my quiz schedule and my test schedule and my academic schedule. And I'm going to log them just like I'm logging my shadowing and community service hours. But I'm going to log this, and I'm going to progress in the ukulele and be awesome at it. And by the time in a year, I'm going to be playing things. And then you can tell us about that. That is key. Lots of those people in those stories a few slides ago did not tell us the most fun part about their own growth and how they took hold of their growth and became something, better and learn something new and all that. So you can do it with your personal attributes. You can do it with hobbies if you have hobbies already. If you don't have a hobby, you should make, you know, find a hobby. We say that in jest all the time that this person or that person should get a hobby. But it's true. And there are all kinds of things out there that you can do. I'm going to give you some more ideas in a second. Some leisure time activities. It just can be anything. And how do you make this happen? You log it. You like Nike, you just do it. There are a bunch of free apps. I would just log it on whatever calendar thing you're doing right now. You can get your phone to buzz you that it's, time to do Spanish lessons or something. Okay. So these are a lot of things that you might select to work on. Journal, start journaling, speak another language. If you have a language in your family heritage, do you speak it? And if you do, that's awesome. And maybe you want to like pick up another one. Signing would be kind of fun. Anyway, so here are some other things. What's the point? The point is you're doing it, you're growing it, you're setting goals, you're accomplishing it, and then you tell us about it in the application. Okay. Um, Learn languages, Duolingo. I think that's free. Anyway, there are a bunch of free language apps. And I think sign is kind of a fun language, also kind of difficult. Maybe you do need to be more organized. I told you some of these examples already. How's your closet looking? That's on my personal growth plan for the month, is to get that closet organized. Um, Went to the laundry room the other day. My husband said, "Oh, you going into your second closet?" Because there was like, yeah, it's a mess. So that's on my plan. Um, Maybe a junk drawer every week. I don't know. It just depends on, it just depends on your life and what you want to do with it. Maybe if you're a reader, if you're not a reader, become a reader and read something fun. You're working hard on your schoolwork. Get a fun book. Get a book that looks interesting to you and read 20 minutes a night, like your mom used to do with you when you were in kindergarten you know? Yep, yep, yep. We've all been there and done that. Take your movie, if you have a passive movie hobby, I'm not sure that you would put that on your application to medical school. It doesn't sound like a very weighty thing. But if you worked it like a hobby and got into it, learn what those credits are, learn what all those roles are. Take your favorite movie, find out who the director is, and watch all of their movies. I'm into M. Night Shyamalan. So that's that's a way to grow that passive hobby into something. If you're a baker, what could you do with baking? We'll brainstorm later. Okay, we'll brainstorm later. So let's think about those kinds of things. Do something musical, get a ukulele, explore the history of music online, on TED Talks, on YouTube. Join a choir. Maybe go to church more regularly, or take up yoga or hot yoga. I'm not sure I would last through a hot yoga class. I think something fun to do. I'm getting these feed. I don't know where they came from, but I get a word of the day every day in my email now. And I didn't delete it or put it in the junk drawer because it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. And so I don't know all of them. So I'm learning something from those words of the day. And then there are just a million things. Take up knitting. Crocheting is big right now. And crocheting little creature things. So just a million ways to, and I'll share the PowerPoints will be online in a day or two. So there are ideas there for you, and log them and then enter them. Maybe not everything, you should be, that's in the shoebox presentation coming up in a month or two, but you should be logging everything, keeping track of everything. And not everything may make it to the application. Okay. But these things are important. As I just told you, we spent, this time talking about these little things that you might not have thought to put in there. Like, I'm a better communicator now, like Amy. She should have put that in her application. So reflect on it, log it, do it, put it here. Here's where it goes. You've got a section of TMDSAS. the application that's called your personal biography. There's like just a world of goodness in here, and you're going to show all of these categories. In these 8 categories, you're going to show all kinds of things that you've done. But if you don't know where to put it, you can always stick it in extracurricular. That does not necessarily mean that it was campus extracurricular like an organization. It means all kinds of things. Amy should have put name of the activity, improving my social skills, improving my communication skills, something like that, and then told us about her plan and how she worked through that growth plan. So there you go. TED Talks would be wonderful. Um, yeah, more just endless ideas for you. Okay, so challenge yourself, learn something new, improve yourself, meet people of the world, and break out of your comfort zone. I think you get the message, right? So that's, let me just tell you other things coming up for Club Pre-Med on I think it's next week. You should have it on your email from Club Pre-Med. There's another one coming up just in, like, this is a bonus month, November. You get 2 for the month. And the next one is Study Skills from the Pros. So we have a group of medical students who study very successfully, and they're going to share their plans with you, their how they do things, how their strategies, their study plans and things. So that should be a really good one. Other things that are coming up soon are gap years, superpowers, and the shoebox organization, in case you need to know about that. So with that, I'm going to close it, and maybe we can get to your questions now. I'm going to stop the recording as well.